The trading post on Zareth 7 hummed with the usual cacophony of 1,000 different species bartering, arguing, and conducting business under the station's artificial atmosphere. Nova adjusted the strap of her supply pack, her fingers absently tracing the intricate tattoo that spiraled up her left forearm, an ancient human symbol passed down through 7 generations of her family. The geometric patterns were said to represent humanity's journey from Earth, though the exact meaning had been lost to time. She didn't notice the massive figure watching her from across the marketplace. Albie did. He'd been tracking the creature for the past 10 minutes, ever since it had emerged from the restricted docking bay, reserved for apex species, those few races in the galaxy deemed too dangerous for standard civilian interaction. The being stood nearly 3 meters tall, its crystalline exoskeleton refracting the station's lights into prismatic shards across the floor. A Carthenix, if Albie's xenobiology training served him correctly. One of the galaxy's most feared predator species, Nova, he whispered urgently into his calm, trying not to draw attention. Don't move. There's a Carthenix at your 4 o'clock, and it's staring right at you. Nova's hand froze on a container of Terran coffee beans, one of humanity's most profitable exports. You're joking. I wish I was. Just stay calm. And the Carthenix moved with terrifying speed, crossing the 50 meters between them in seconds. Vendors scattered, their wares clattering to the ground. Nova spun around, her heart hammering, as the massive predator loomed over her. Its faceted eyes, each the size of her fist, seemed to contain entire galaxies of ancient intelligence. Then it did something that made every human instinct scream in terror. It knelt. The marketplace fell silent. A Carthenix kneeling before anyone was unheard of. These were the beings that had conquered 17 star systems before the Galactic Council had negotiated a fragile peace. They bowed to no one. The mark, the creature rumbled, its voice like stones grinding in an avalanche. A translation matrix flickered in the air between them. You bear the mark of the first walkers. Nova looked down at her tattoo, confusion replacing fear. It's just a family heirloom. My great-great-grandmother designed it based on old Earth, not designed. The Carthenix interrupted, rising slowly to its full height, its massive claw hand extended, hovering near her arm but not touching. Remembered, we Carthenix have long memories, human. Longer than your species has had written language. Albie had managed to push through the crowd, positioning himself protectively near Nova despite knowing he'd be useless against such a creature. What are you talking about? Humans have only been in space for 300 years. The Carthenix's laugh was a sound like breaking ice. Humans have been on this world for 300 years, but your species is old, young ones. Older than you remember. Nova's fingers trembled as she looked at her tattoo with new eyes. The spiraling pattern, the geometric precision, the way certain lines seemed to form star charts she'd never quite been able to decipher. That's impossible, is it? The Carthenix's eyes glittered. Tell me, human child, why do your people adapt so quickly to every environment? Why do you carry genetic markers from a dozen different stellar radiation types? Why do your legends speak of stars and voyages even in your most ancient texts? From times when you claim you could barely cross your own oceans. A crowd had gathered, now species, from across the galaxy watching this unprecedented exchange. Nova felt the weight of countless eyes, but she couldn't look away from the predator before her. My name is Carthax, 9th of the Ancient Watch, the creature continued. 60,000 of your years ago, my ancestor encountered a human ship broken, dying, fleeing from something even we feared to name. They bore that mark. He gestured to her tattoo, the symbol of the Exodus fleet, the humans who scattered across the stars to preserve their species, who seeded 100 worlds with their genetic code, who faced extinction and chose survival over surrender. The wanderers, Carthax continued, who taught my people that true strength lies not in conquest, but in endurance, who showed us that the smallest beings can carry the greatest determination. Albie's mind raced. You're saying humanity didn't originate on Earth? That we're descendants of refugees? I am saying that your species has forgotten its own glory, Carthax replied. You think you are new to the stars, children playing at exploration. But your ancestors crossed the void when mine still crawled in volcanic mud. They fell, yes. They forgot, but they survived. The massive predator's gaze returned to Nova, and some of them remembered to pass on the marks, even when the meaning was lost. Nova felt tears stinging her eyes. Her grandmother had always said the tattoo was important, that it meant their family never forgot who they were. She'd thought it was just sentiment, just tradition. Why tell us this now? She asked. Because the galaxy faces what your ancestors faced, a threat from the deep dark, from the spaces between galaxies. And we will need humanity's gift, not your weapons or your ships, but your stubborn refusal to yield. Your impossible hope. Carthax's crystalline face somehow conveyed what might have been a smile. The Apex Council meets in 7 cycles. I will propose an alliance, and I will tell them what I have told you. That humanity is not a newcomer to be tolerated, but an elder race to be respected. The Carthenic straightened, and the crowd parted as he turned to leave. But he paused, looking back at Nova and Albi. Your ancestors had a saying, inscribed on the hull of every Exodus ship. Perhaps it is time you remembered it. We fall, we rise, we endure. The stars may forget us, but we will never forget the stars. As Carthax disappeared into the crowd, Nova looked at Albi, then down at the ancient tattoo on her arm, suddenly so much more than just ink and memory. Around them, the marketplace slowly returned to life, but nothing would ever be quite the same. Humanity, she realized, had been playing the long game all along, and they were just starting to remember how to win.